Hey,
Oh,
Nicole.
you look so good in your little screen, the two of you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tilt it up a little bit.
yeah, please.
Yeah,
There we go.
close it up.
That's better. How
Perfect.
are you? We're so excited.
Me too. And you're the first guest to be on Berries and Tea, and it's hosted on my on my coaching page now. So that's
Ah,
amazing because you guys get so much more audience, and I'm happy because my audience will actually now get to see incredible speakers talking about something they're super passionate about.
Yes, we're super excited. And now since our t-shirts are being cut out, I need to just show my t-shirt. Ah, can you
Let's
read
see the
it?
t-shirt.
Real
Real
dog, real
dog.
food.
Real food. Mm-hmm. Yeah, girlfriend.
Yes, fitting
Great.
to the
Okay.
occasion.
Yes. So, and Fifi is here joining our interview very appropriately. The dogs are waiting for their walk, so they're just not involved right now. But I want to just introduce you guys before I get you to start talking. So I know Charlie and Larry for about 2 years now because for 2 years they have been an incredible support to me and my dogs and their nutrition. Like if I have any questions about my dogs, it's like, Charlie, what do I do? And you've been an absolute supporter. And because I feed them raw, I have had people that have told me that, Nigora, I don't think this is the right thing. And I would say, go talk to Charlie because I can't be bothered to debate with you. That's exactly what I would do. So I want you to introduce yourselves and then the concept, the business, and then let's talk about how should dogs eat and cats, maybe. Or maybe let's focus on dogs. Let's focus on dogs.
Yeah, let's focus on dogs for now. We always try to be very inclusive of both dogs and cats. It's the same at the end of the day, it's the same philosophy. Cats do have a little bit of a different nutritional requirements than dogs, but the basic idea is the same. So, yeah, you want to start?
yeah, I mean, so you want us to introduce ourselves, yeah? So my name is Larry, this is Charlie, and we are the founders of UAE's first natural and holistic pet health store. So this is a big, big deal. We made it our mission to provide natural and safe options for our pets. So everything that you shop for within our store is safe and non-toxic. We explain every single ingredient of every single product that we carry in our store. So whatever it is, we tell you exactly what's in it. If it's a non-food item, we tell you exactly what it's made of. So we think it's very, very important to show the transparency of everything that we provide, because at the end of the day, we want to provide only safe and natural options for our pets and nothing that can actually harm our pets. And more importantly as well, like humans handling this stuff too, because a lot of things that are labeled pet safe may not actually be safe for humans to handle themselves. So we made it incredibly important to only bring in human grade items for our pets and just safe things.
Yeah. And that was kind of, I mean, Milka, our dog, is our inspiration behind everything, but she might make an appearance later. But yeah, so it kind of came from our dog was very sick. Was it 4 or 5 years ago now? And actually, like, we've spent so much time at the vet office. Every 2 months we had to take her in, and every 2 months there was another vet bill, and like apparently nobody knew really what was wrong, but like we were feeding good quality dry food, and the vets were just like, yeah, she's healthy. I don't know why she's throwing up every night, and I don't know why she has all these hot spots all the time, and like she used to get so many warts everywhere and
Puppy loma.
puppy loma, yeah. which are all, now we know that all of these signs were signs of a low immune system and gut health not being okay with her at such a young age. And all of that went away when we switched from dry food to raw food. And for us, actually making the switch was very hard in the beginning because we were like, we can't really afford it and it's so expensive, you know, feeding raw. It is a big shift in the mind that has to happen. But looking back at it, we kind of look at it like now we spend the money that we used to spend in the vet office, we spend that on food and supplements, natural supplements and natural ways to improve health and be proactive, and we don't have any vet bills. Like, it sounds so weird when I say that, but it really is the truth. Like, we don't have vet bills other than the occasional checkup that we do for proactive pet health. So yeah, that when we saw the switch of just like switching to raw food having such a huge, and switching to a natural approach, proactive approach as well, having such a huge impact on her health, we were like, what is going on? Why is nobody talking about this? We need to start talking about this. We need to start raising awareness. And that's when we kind of went down the rabbit hole as well into the pet industry. And that's just, it's crazy once you start like digging. It's
one of the things that like really, you know, made us start really digging was we couldn't believe like how much information that we were getting from healthcare professionals telling us to do something that was completely, in a way, harming our own dog. And then once we started, you know, searching for information and trying to focus on prevention, then we found out like there's a whole holistic side of animal healthcare, which is like completely, for us, I had no idea that there was holistic veterinarians and integrated veterinarians. I mean, I didn't even know that there was really things like this actually happening for pets. I mean, we knew about it a little bit for humans, but it's just so amazing to see that human health and animal health closely parallel each other. So cats and dogs get very much of the same type of cancer as humans get. So humans eat a lot of processed food, so do our pets. You know, so they get a lot of the same diseases that humans do.
Yeah.
So, okay, so this is so interesting because in the long term, actually, you are saving money rather than spending it at the vet, plus giving your pet a better quality of life, better poop quality, because let's face it, it's all about poop, and better just energy levels and a longevity. I have a neighbor who has a beagle, and the beagle is at the vet every single month, and she spends at least 500-700 dirhams just on a consultation, on some pills, on some injections every single month. And I'm telling her, just switch to raw. No, Nagora, raw is expensive. So in the 3 years that I've been feeding, actually 4 years now, that I've been feeding my dogs raw, I haven't been to the vet once. Only one time I went, and I regretted it for the rest of my life. My doggy had an infection on his toenail. We went because I was worried, you know, a new parent, like a new mom in this industry, and they gave me antibiotics. They injected her with 2 injections without asking my permission. Put a cone on her, a cone for a freaking toe infection, and charged me 500 dirhams. I came home completely distraught. I was a healthy dog suddenly became a sick dog. And then my downstairs neighbor who has 2 dogs, he's like, Nagora, why did you go to the vet? Here, Fusidine, apply on the toenail, it will go away. I did that, and the infection went. I didn't give any medication, no antibiotics. And since then, I was like, there's no way I'm going to go to the vet ever again for anything that I can treat naturally, which I can thanks to your amazing apothecary, I call it, full of like natural pet medicine, right? And with feeding raw, I don't just notice good quality poop, but also fur, smell. There's no smell, and the demeanor of they're very calm, they're very disciplined, they're very they're just present, they're very present. And I'm saying that because as a health coach, I'm assuming that the kibble has sugar that increases hyperactivity. You tell me about it, because from a human perspective, that's what sugar does to a child, makes it super hyperactive and impossible to manage, right? So I thought, is this the correct thing for the dogs too?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So the issue with dry food in general is that it is very high in carbohydrates, between 30 to 60% of carbohydrates, which, by the way, you will not find that on the ingredient label. Like when you turn the bag around and it will say the fat content, it will say the protein content, and it will not say the carbohydrate content. And that is because pet parents are becoming more and more aware that our dogs actually don't require carbohydrates. Not in the way that dry food, it isn't contained in dry food anyway. Like in their natural diet, it should only be about 5% carbohydrates. And that would come from like fruits and vegetables that they would sometimes just get in their natural diet. And that's it. But when you compare that to 60%, up to 60% on the dry food, that is like a big red flag. And that's why just no dry food company really puts it on the label.
They legally don't have to tell you. I mean, they legally don't have to tell you how many carbohydrates are in the food. They don't have to. There's when we look at pet food labeling, there's a lot of things that pet food manufacturers and treat makers can do to mislead the public. I mean, there's like a AFCO who regulates a lot of the pet food coming from the US and Canada. There's certain things that they can, certain words that can be used to indicate certain percentages of food. So for example, it can be
with chicken.
Yeah, the recipe can say something, and then the word with indicates.
Hold on. So just for everyone to understand, if the front of the dry food label, it would say I don't know, whatever, dog food with chicken. And just because it has that word with there, it has a meaning.
So it would be at least that anything behind that word with would need to contain at least 25% of that said ingredient. So they can show you a big chunky steak on that. What?
The width is 3%. No?
Is it width?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Excuse me. 3%. Recipe is 25%. So things like this is just like, nobody would ever know this, right? If you're in a supermarket or you're in a pet store, you would never know that this word indicates a certain level of percentage of the food. Like you just wouldn't know. There's no way to know that unless you go on the internet to find out what are the rules for pet food labeling, So
basically, even if the first ingredient is chicken in that food, it could still only be 3% of the entire food that would be chicken. So it's really become so hard for pet parents to understand.
And so back to the carbohydrates, it's really one of those things. We believe that, first of all, sugar, like carbs turn into sugar within the body, and sugar spikes insulin. It's the same exact thing for humans, right? It's the same thing for our cats and our dogs. And in our dogs, they really cannot handle carbohydrates like humans can, like, because humans, we can eat vegetables, we can eat meat, we can eat almost anything that's out there. But our dogs and cats they're bodies are so much more different. So they have higher rates of inflammation within the body, which we believe is due to the carbohydrates in the food.
Yeah.
So
their digestive tracts are designed to actually eat meat. And that is actually something that I know you have asked me before as well, because there are always people who say, yeah, but you shouldn't feed raw because of salmonella and it's not good for the dogs, right? But here's the thing. So when we and maybe we should talk a little bit about the ethical side of feeding raw as well later. But personally, I believe that when we take that right, or when we domesticate animals, then I personally want to do my very best doing the best by them and feeding them their species appropriate diet, because that is what they're going to thrive on. They can survive on kibble and dry food. They can survive, and they can sometimes also live a long life. But is that life going to be less is that life going to be the best life that they could live? Or is that life going to be a life that is always itchy, or always something popping up, hot spots, whatever?
always at the vet.
Always at the vet, exactly. But talking about salmonella, and some people have the concern of bacteria, which it is a concern, because at the end of the day, you're feeding raw meat, so you have to know how to handle it. And with that, we always say, for the dog, it's fine. It's the human. Like, you just have to kind of use common sense and know that I'm not going to cut raw meat on this cutting board and then I'm going to put my raw vegetables on there and I'm going to eat my vegetables raw. Like, you just wouldn't do that with your own meat. So you shouldn't do that with your dog food either. So, but like our dog's digestive tract, so their stomach acid is very acidic, so that a lot of the salmonella and the pathogenic bacteria that could potentially be in raw dog food cannot even survive. The second thing is that their digestive tract is actually very short. So the food just gets kind of pushed out. It doesn't sit there and ferment inside the digestive tract the way that it does with humans. So salmonella can't really multiply to the point where it could make the dog sick. And there are studies that prove that both raw-fed dogs and dry-fed dogs successfully pass salmonella and other pathogenic bacteria without getting sick. So that means that they ate contaminated food and they passed it. The poop shows, okay, there was a salmonella, but the dog didn't get sick. And another very big misconception with the dry food is that dry food is safe and does not contain pathogenic bacteria, which is absolutely not true. Dry food gets recalled all the time for salmonella and other pathogenic bacteria. And actually, research shows that the dry food, like people kind of, the pet parents who feed the food, they know that raw food, okay, I should wash my hands after touching raw food. And they generally have more safety concern around the food. Whereas with dry food, people think, oh, it's a sterile food, I can touch it and then I go about my life. Maybe I don't have to wash my hands after. And that is how a lot of pet parents actually infect themselves with salmonella, because the dry food also can contain salmonella.
And there's higher levels actually of recalls of dry food with salmonella. So the stigma, it really comes from, unfortunately, the healthcare professionals within the animal space who says, don't feed raw food because of salmonella concerns and other pathogenic concerns, when dry food actually has higher levels of recalls within the market.
So just to confirm, next time someone attacks me about salmonella in my dog's food, I will say that the acidity in the dog's stomachs and digestive system is very high, so no salmonella can even survive in that environment. And the second thing is that the digestive tract is very short, meaning that even if there is salmonella, it goes right through it and into the poop, and that's it. So the dog never actually, and other pathogenic bacteria, which is really important to note, right?
Yeah.
So I got that. So then another thing someone told me, Nigora, but your dog eat raw food, but then they come and kiss you.
Yeah, that's a really great great point as well. So, you know, it's funny because again, you know, so it comes back when you compare the mouth of a dry fed dog and compare that to the mouth of a raw fed dog, which one do you think has more bacteria in their mouth? It's actually the dry food.
100% the dry food, because I lived for 2 months in one house in Germany, by the way, and they had a Dalmatian and they fed him awful dry food and then canned food, and he just stank. I love the dog, but I couldn't hug him because he stank, and he used to fart every 20 minutes, and the smells were awful. You know, and my dogs, my pure Bianco, Woody, when they do fart, and you know, sometimes I can hear it. It's so gentle and soft, and has no smell whatsoever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think, like, yeah, this is really fun. I think something to really note about salmonella is because salmonella, it really has a bad reputation with it being associated with that it can harm us humans, right? But not all salmonella is actually bad. There's over 2,000 types of salmonella, right? But only, I think there's like 4 to 8 strands of salmonella that's actually known to actually be harmful for humans. This is why supermarkets around the world is actually allowed to have certain levels of salmonella within the meat market of that supermarket. So in America, for example, this would be up to 10%. So the chicken that you would find in a supermarket can have up to 10% salmonella. Not all salmonella is bad as well. I just wanted to mention that.
But going back to the question of the licking, yeah. So when you look at a dog mouse, you see that a lot of dry fed dogs have very, very bad plaque, brown teeth. And you see that compare that to a lot of raw fed dog, they don't have that much plaque. And the brown discoloration of the teeth is also a sign of bacteria being present. So the reason why this happens a lot is that, again, because of the carbohydrate content of dry food, because our dogs do not have the digestive enzymes in their mouth to start carbohydrate digestion, because they were never designed to eat that high amount of carbohydrates. So like, they're carnivores. They have different digestive enzymes in their digestive tract than humans or herbivores, right? So so what happens when they eat the dry food that is very high in carbohydrates, the carbohydrates kind of just sit on the teeth, so the sugar sits on the teeth, and we all know what that does to teeth when sugar just sits on the teeth, because they can't properly digest it in their mouth and break it down. So that is why, for example, we had the same thing with our dog, like, and you might have seen that as well when you switched your dogs to raw. Like when our dog, we switched her when she was around 1 year old, and she already had some brown stuff on her teeth. And within like 3 weeks of switching to raw, it actually went away.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and until this day, today, she's turning 6 years in September, and she didn't have to have a single teeth cleaning in her life. So it's powerful. Nutrition is,
everything. So what I want to say, which you just like opened America to me, literally, because in the human mouth, 90% of digestion happens in the mouth. So that's why we're meant to chew, right? We're chewing to release all those digestive enzymes, right? Which is in the saliva to cover the carbs, the protein, the fruit, the veg, whatever it is, to drop it into the stomach. So then some churning is happening, some more digestive enzymes are being attached to different types of food, and then into the gut, into the small intestine. Now, dogs don't chew, first of all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Right?
their teeth are designed to rip. Yeah.
Right. So hold on. So say that again. Say that again. Dogs don't chew. And what did you say about their teeth?
Yeah, so their teeth, because they have the canine teeth, right? And they actually also, their mouth only opens up and down. They don't grind the way that we do. So their mouth only opens like this. Their teeth and their mouth, their jaw, is designed to tear and rip, but not chew. So, yeah.
Wow, that's so interesting. And then they don't have that digestive enzyme that is specific for carbs.
Not in their mouth, not in their saliva. Yeah.
And this digestive enzyme amylase is what it is. So I think I'm very sure it's the same for humans. This digestive enzyme is found very, very little within the gut. So I think it's like 5%.
Yeah.
Which remember that 5% we were talking about 5% carbs in the diet. So it would be similar. Actually, it's very similar.
Yeah, so that's why when we feed a dry food diet, that a lot of the sugar remains inside of the mouth and can't properly be broken down. So then the dogs develop the brown teeth, lots of plaque, which is a sign for bacteria. So I would have a bigger issue with a dry-fed dog licking my face than a raw-fed dog. Now, am I gonna let my dog lick my face right after she just ate raw food? Maybe not, probably not. But again, I mean, like I would have a bigger issue with a dry-fed dog licking my face.
Guys, if you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section. We'll be sure to answer them. I see a lot of in the chat, so please drop your questions down below.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm asking you questions. I think they'll be like, Igor is asking all the right questions. So okay. So the next thing is the fruits and vegetables for the dogs that are also people like, what? You feed your dogs a blueberry and a carrot and a broccoli, and sometimes I even give them smoothies. I know you do as well. So what is the deal with that?
I mean, today, first of all, food is not what it used to be 70, 100 years ago, so when we know that there are superfoods out there, so things like blueberries, which are incredibly high in antioxidants, and then we can feed all of these other types of food into the diet, they can handle these type of foods, and it's very beneficial to them. So it's beneficial for vitamins and trace minerals into the diet. So we definitely recommend to include fresh food, vegetables and fruits into the diet if you can, and to any diet as well. So it doesn't need to be raw food. I know we're specifically talking about raw food today, but if you are feeding dry food or wet food, whatever vegetables that you can put into the diet, it's very, very beneficial for our dogs. So, yeah.
And raw food as well. So yeah.
Sorry, Charlie, just on a note of vegetables, what I noticed is that when you start feeding your dogs kibble, they don't have the appetite for vegetables.
Okay.
I think it's yeah. Continue.
Because they are so used to that awful taste and that sugar and these preservatives that vegetables is doesn't taste very good. Same with kids, try giving them a broccoli after you've given them a candy.
Yeah. It's actually really true. For dogs, it's a bit tricky because honestly, if we were to like have all like feed Milka whole food ingredients, so without grinding or anything like that, and we were to put a piece of broccoli in front of her, and we were to put some meat next to it, she's gonna go for the meat first straight away. She may or may not go eat that piece of broccoli. So Milka is still picky with certain vegetables. We have to try to mix it in there. So some dogs are just uninterested in vegetables. So sometimes we find that it's best to grind it up and try to stick it into the meat or something. But I mean, there's some vegetables or fruits that dogs don't mind, like blueberries, for example.
And by the way, on the topic of vegetables as well, and digestive enzymes, dogs actually, like it's, if you're going to feed vegetables to your dog, it's best to grind them up because you're already doing the first step of the digestion. So you're kind of pre-digesting it for them. So it's more readily available for them because, again, they don't have the exact digestive enzymes to really break down the vegetables that way. Like, for example, if you're going to give your dog a piece of corn, like just like a, which I don't recommend you do, but if you were, if you're just going to give like a piece of corn kernel, it will probably get pooped out right that way because they don't have the digestive enzymes to actually break apart that cell wall. And I was gonna say earlier, like, yeah, we're talking about raw food today because if we're gonna talk about nourishing our dogs and really giving the best possible nutrition to our dogs that's possible, then that would be a raw diet of meat, bones, raw bones. So raw meaty bones such as duck necks, duck feet, chicken necks, things like that, duck carcass, things like that. So raw bones, raw meat, any type of muscle meat, even hard, like really nutritious organ meats as well. But there's a difference in between organ meats. So I don't want to get too much into it, but basically it's 10% organs of like liver, kidney, things like that. And then you have muscle meat and 10% bones as well. So that would be a raw diet. And then you can add your vegetables and fruits if you like, but that shouldn't be too much of the diet. So, but that being said, if for some reason you might not be able to do that for financial reasons, or maybe you want to just start slow, it's very important to know research actually now proves that adding as little as 20% of raw food to your dry food dog diet actually makes the dogs healthier and lowers the risk of disease and especially allergies in dogs. So just taking out 20% of dry food out of your dog's bowl and putting 20% fresh food, raw meat, raw bones, raw organ meats or vegetables makes a huge difference and makes the dog so much healthier. And there's actual research now that proves that, which is super exciting.
You know, I think for all pet parents, if you are guys watching, if you will watch later, the first question I would ask you as a coach, why do you have a dog, right? First of all, just to, you know, play around with and just say that I have a dog, or are you taking a dog to really intentionally, sincerely look after? And if it is the latter, if you do want to look after an animal, then do it right. Right? So, and the right way to do it is by feeding it the diet that is meant to be, like you guys said, in nature, and that is raw meat, that is organs and bones and vegetables and fruits. And I think we are so lucky in Dubai to have you guys to that have this knowledge, that are educating us like so persistently. I've been watching you guys for the past few years, and you've just been on and on and on about it, and I love that you just don't give up. And are committed to educating people here to treat their animals right, and proving that raw diet does prevent disease, does support the dog's life, does increase their mood, right? They're so happy licking away at their bones and eating all the, it's incredible to see the difference. My dogs don't even look at dry food if I put it in front of them. The most expensive dry food, right? And preventing the vet bills. So actually saving you a lot of money. So I really just want to, there's a question that maybe you can answer, but before you answer that question, I just really want to encourage everybody who's watching, everybody who has a pet. If you have friends who have pets, please consider the diet that you're giving your dog, and please consider changing it to what is best for your dog, and observe the change in their mood and their health, and then decrease of your bills. Right? So I just really wanted to make it, to exaggerate on the point that it's so, it's not a toy, a dog.
Yeah.
You know, and
Absolutely.
if you took the responsibility of having one at your home, then please do it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you want to answer that question, but I think, you know, because sometimes I really think about myself before we had Milka, you know, and I think about the very first time I went into a pet store. We were in Germany, and my experience was really, really hard, because first of all, we were like, okay, we're going to go to the pet store. We're going to look at ingredients. We've always been, from the very start, like, ingredients, we need to check them out. We went to Germany, or we were in Germany, and for me, everything was in German. So I already struggled from the jump, you know, like trying to understand ingredients. But I will never forget the moment that like, how I felt, like, just completely overwhelmed, you know. And my idea of when I had Milka is like, okay, we're gonna spend, I think we said 20 to 30 euros on pet food, which is maybe 100 dirhams. We said back then that was our budget for food, you know. So when you get a dog, and this is what you think, it is very hard to you know, say, I'm going to now spend X amount of money on a raw food diet. But what we didn't know is that that we would be saving so much money, like you said, on the vet bills. And I know, I mean, it's not to say that, you know, once you feed a raw food diet that all your vet bills will go away. But like, from our store, and we have a really good mix of, I would probably say 50% of our customers are feeding raw, and 50% of our customers are feeding dry food. So we get a really good idea to see our dry-fed dogs have much more higher vet bills, and they come to us a lot more because we also have a lot of supplements to try to help alleviate some of those health concerns that the dry food fed dogs are having. So we see a good mix of the health issues that are arising from dogs that are on the dry food. So I think when the dogs are eating more, at least raw food, just anything that you can include into the diet, we would say it's just extremely beneficial. And even if you're not going to feed 100% raw, at least consider some fresh food, because I know for a lot of people it's finances. That's the biggest turn away from feeding a raw diet. A lot of people think, you know, if I don't feed 100% raw, then I shouldn't feed any raw at all. And that is definitely not the case. You can, like, whatever you can include into the diet would be extremely beneficial.
Yeah. So then maybe you can just address that question from Tati.
Yeah, if I take out 10% of dry food, do I add the wet food? So I'm guessing that means raw food in calories value. Where would I get a nutritional calorie value on the given raw substitute? That's a great question. Honestly, I wouldn't actually make it that complicated. So personally, because at the end of the day, I know, maybe not you, Tatiana. I know Tatiana, by the way. So just maybe not you, Tatiana, but I know like maybe other people who are watching, it's always about convenience as well, right? So just to make it more convenient, I wouldn't actually get too hung up on nutritional calorie values. I would pretty much just go with, okay, this is how many grams of dry food my dog would eat. And then I take 20% out or 10% out. And then I put that value in raw food in. Or you could actually even put a little bit more raw food in, because raw food weighs more since it includes the moisture as well of the food. So you could actually just, yeah, probably take 10% out and put 20% in or something like that.
And also, so with there was a study as well done on pet food, overall pet food. Dry food actually recommends that you, like, manufacturers always recommend 25% higher than what a dog should actually be feeding. So what that means is that when you look at the instruction lists on your pet food, generally they're recommending 25% more than what your dog should be eating. And this is why we say that you can take out 20% of the food and replace it with 20% of the raw food, because there was also a study done on that. So that's where all of this comes from.
Yeah.
So you could actually take out 10% and it would be completely fine.
And the study that Larry's talking about actually showed that just by decreasing calorie intake, so just by decreasing the dry food by 20% of what the manufacturer recommends, that extended life for up to 2 years to the dogs. So that was huge as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
But something else, Nigora, that we just talked about last week as well, and many people also, that's kind of something that's stopping many people to feed a raw diet, which honestly, we have struggled with this thought as well. Being vegetarian or vegan and feeding a raw diet to a dog, right? So that comes up all the time. And again, like, just so you guys know, Larry and I also don't eat meat anymore. But for us, it kind of went the other way around. So we were feeding Milka raw food, and we were like, we don't want to support the mass production of animals any more than we have to. So let her eat all the meat, because biologically she has to get the meat. And then we said, okay, we can live and thrive without meat, so we don't eat meat. But anyway, I understand that a lot of pet parents are concerned, about feeding meat to dogs when they're vegan or vegetarian. And for me, it always also comes back to exactly what you just said, Nigora, which is, if we take out that need to have a dog, that privilege to have a dog in our life and to take care of that dog, then I believe that for me, I want to do everything in my power to provide the dog with a thriving life, and do what I can to support the dog, right? So for me, the issue of I can't feed raw because I'm vegan or because I'm vegetarian, I think you have to look at the dog, because the dog never asked to be vegetarian or vegan. So, and dry food also includes meat. So at the end of the day, you would still be feeding meat, even if you're feeding dry food. It's just the lower quality meat, yeah, if you're feeding dry food. So, and that is why, honestly, like now, as you know, Nigora, we just introduced Paleo Ridge to the UAE, which is the #1 pet food, raw pet food in the UK. So it was voted the best raw pet food in the UK, and we just introduced it here. And honestly, we are so excited that our dog eats this food because like it just put like it brings ethical raw feeding to the UAE for the very first time because the animals that are in the meat, so the meat
The
in
protein.
those food, it is from high welfare outdoor reared farms only. So there's no mass production, no factory farming meats used in these meals. So all the animals are raised outdoors. They can soak up the sun, they can breathe fresh air, they can exercise, they live in low stress environments, and that of course makes the meat quality incredible. There's just nothing even on the human meat market, honestly, I just haven't found anything comparable especially when it comes to poultry, because the only thing we were able to get, and the only thing that I know everyone else was able to get until now, was cage-free chicken, which can't even be compared to free range and certified organic. Our chicken is certified organic and free range and outdoor reared. So
Yeah.
it's just, it brings, like, for those who are concerned about ethical raw feeding and like I don't want to feed meat to my dog because I'm vegetarian or vegan, let's consider what is the natural diet of our dogs and how can we feed that in the most ethical and sustainable way so that we all benefit from it. So yeah.
So the first question a vegetarian or vegan should ask themselves is, why are you vegetarian or vegan? I think it's, quite a lot of people don't know why they're vegetarian or vegan, and then they just sort of say, oh, I'll just feed my dog. It's like an excuse, Hey, there's Woody, everyone. So
Oh,
that's
hey,
the first
Woody.
thing. And then the second thing is to really as you said, even the dry food that you buy, you're supporting mass production of these low quality, meat factories that only put 3% of chicken in your kibble anyway, right? So that's the other thing. And you went vegetarian for a reason, or vegan because you support animal welfare. So please support the health of your dogs.
Yeah.
So I'm vegetarian, and I'm a very happy vegetarian. I love all animals, but there's also nature. There's also the laws of nature. There's also the laws of life. And many will say, but humans also not were, eating meat years ago. Maybe, yeah, sure. But then again, that's the question, why are you vegetarian today? Is that aligned with your values and so on? So I really, if you have vegans, vegetarians that have a problem buying your product, just send them to me for a nice coaching session. I'll get their values straight. That's one thing. But yeah, so I just want to thank you guys for bringing Paleo Rich, one of the best products, the best product in the UK, to the UAE so that we can feed our babies the best food. Now, officially, my dogs are eating better than I do. It's official. with all the cage-free, organic, I don't know what, and I eat pretty well, but no, it's done. They've taken over.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. I'd like to close here, and before we close, I want you guys to give pet parents 3 advices on how to just love and respect their pets.
That's a great point.
Three points on how to love and respect our pets.
Well, I think for one, number one is trying to, I believe, honestly, I believe we all do the very best that we can, but we can all expand our comfort zones every day a little bit more. So every day, try to include a little bit of fresh food into your dog's diet. That is one very good way to show love and respect to your animal.
Yeah, I would say exercise your animal. This is so underrated. I don't think a lot of people actually think about how important exercise is, because it doesn't matter what you feed a dog. You can feed your dog the absolute best food in the world, or you can feed your dog the absolute worst food in the world. But if you exercise consistently your dog, you would be reducing disease markers so much. So exercise your dog, do it. And first of all, it's good for you too as a human being as well. So just exercising your dog gives you a reason to exercise yourself as a human being. We live on the same planet together, so we should respect each other, right? So we should, do better when we do better by our pets, we do better by ourselves as well. So
yeah,
that is, I would definitely say exercise is extremely important to respect our animals.
Yeah. And number 3, I think we could all do with a little bit more of, I'm missing the word, but thinking about like respecting our dogs and cats, maybe. I mean, not maybe, but definitely. Respecting our dogs and cats in a new way, where I think a lot of people don't think about it, but what would my dog want? Would my dog want to go, like, is it a good idea for my dog and her stress levels to go with me to the bar across the street right now? Or would it be better for my dog and more comfortable for my dog to stay at home and wait for me to come back? Or even like things like, would it be a good idea for my dog to go to daycare every day? Or is my dog actually not the type to do that? So respecting the individual personality of our dog, I think, has to be kind of generalize all the dogs and say, okay, dog needs to do this, this, and this. And I always want my dog with me because my dog is my emotional support. So I take my dog everywhere. But is that a good idea for the dog?
Yeah, I agree with you. I never take my dogs to cafes because I just can't watch them sit under the table, and they can't really do anything else. So why take your dog to a cafe? I mean, if you're a single man with a cute little puppy and you're looking for attention, then yeah, go for it. But if you're just going thinking that this is fun for your dog, it is not, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so thank you for your 3 advices. We got them. Fresh food daily, exercise, and consider the individual needs of your pet, cat included, right? I love cats. Next time, maybe you guys, we can talk about cats. All right, so this was wonderful. Charlie, Larry, thank you so much. It was super educational. I'm sure a lot of people have learned so much, and I really hope that we have converted maybe lots of people to try to switch feeding raw and going to your website and looking through it and ordering all the wonderful products that you guys have out there. Yeah?
Yeah. If anyone has any questions, we're always happy to help in any way that we can in regards to your pet's wellness and longevity and proactive pet wellness. So not just in regards to raw feeding, also just general health and well-being. So just send us a message. We're always there to help. And you can find us at Pawdega.
And thank you so much, Nagora. It really means a lot for inviting us onto your platform. And you mentioned that this is the first one that you're doing on this page. So we greatly appreciate it. We hope that everyone enjoyed this wonderful, informative live. And we're very happy to be on here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, you guys. Thank you. Not only you are my dog's health coaches, but you're my wonderful friends too, and I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
We are so grateful for you too. And for everyone who's watching, Nigora is the absolute best face fitness instructor. Yes, you heard that right. Yes, that's actually how we met,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you so
Charlie.
much.
You guys,
Yeah.
see you in the desert with our dogs.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.